Hi everyone, Sandra Vale here at Homesteading Ways, and today I wanted to talk to you about preparing for a crisis. Now, a crisis can mean a lot of different things. It could be a natural disaster, like Hurricane Matthew was just recently to millions of people. It could be an earthquake, it could be floods, it could be wildfires, it could be a tornado, a blizzard, anything like that. It could also be something more local, such as a gas leak in your neighborhood, water main break, contaminants in the water. That's happened a lot over the last, I'd say, 5 years across the U.S., where residents were told to either boil their water or not use it at all, even for a shower, because it was that bad. So you kind of want to prepare ahead of time for something like that, because even though it may not have ever happened to you before, it doesn't mean that it can't. Then you may have a personal crisis, such as an illness or an injury that keeps you or your spouse from working, and so now your income is really cut down. There could be something like another downturn in the economy, where all of a sudden people are laid off from their jobs, or there's hyperinflation and a loaf of bread that was $2 today is now $5 tomorrow. I mean, there's a lot of different things that are going on in the world right now, and not a one of us really knows what's going to happen to us tomorrow or a week from tomorrow, so to be prepared ahead of time, to me, is just a smart thing to do. You just never know what can come your way. So before I get on to other things, one of the first things I want to talk about is money. Now, money may or may not help you in a crisis, and it just kind of depends on what the crisis is. Now, if, say for instance, hurricane's coming like it did for a lot of people recently, and you are told you need to evacuate, money can really come in handy. I mean, if you need to fill up your vehicle with gas, you need to buy stuff for on the road, or you need to stay in a hotel for a day or two, money will definitely come in handy. If you're at home and terrible storms come and your house is flooding, I don't think at the moment money's going to help you out a whole lot. But maybe ahead of time, getting some of the things you need, money would have helped you that way. Anyhow, what I'd like to say is you need to start saving money now if you haven't already. I have what I like to call a stash cash, and that's where I have put money away, and under no circumstances do I touch it. That is for emergency use only. Now, a lot of people will tell you you need X amount of dollars in your emergency stash cash. I'm not going to tell you that. Nobody knows your household expenditures the way you do. Now, depending on how much you can put aside, you may want to think about what is your monthly housing cost with your rent or your mortgage. What can you get by on in your monthly bills before they'll start turning off the lights and whatnot, and maybe your grocery bill where you don't get a lot of extras but everybody's still eating. So come up with a figure and start putting money aside for that. If that means skipping Starbucks and brown bagging it at work and selling off some stuff that you don't use anyways, then go ahead and do that. I have one of those cards, like I'm sure you guys do, for the grocery store. Oh, you saved $8.54 today. Great. Well, I will actually take that $8 and put it in my stash. It's not just there it goes, who cares? No, I actually will save that money. One thing I did, for years I always shopped with a debit card. I don't do that anymore. I go with cash with a specific amount of money in my mind that I'm going to spend. So if I bring $100 with me and my bill comes out to $87 or something, I will take that cash and put it straight into the savings. One thing with paying with cash for everything is it really keeps you on budget, because you can't spend what you don't have, and nobody wants to be embarrassed at the cashier with not having enough money. So try and think about the different ways you can save and the different ways you can make money to put towards your stash cash. I've never once heard anybody say, oh, I saved too much money. No, I've more likely heard people say my savings ran out before I was done needing it. So go ahead and start getting that money together now. Okay, that right there is the first generator I ever bought, and I want to say I got it almost 7 years ago. It still runs, it still works fine. I just upgraded to a couple of bigger ones, but I keep it on hand because it would work to power up a bunch of smaller stuff that I have. So if you're in the market for a generator, I would suggest starting off small and buying used if you can. Go to Craigslist or any local buy-sell groups and see what you can find there. And if you look before storm season hits, you'll probably get a better deal. Okay, now being a wife and mother for as many years as I have been, one of the first things I think of when I'm thinking about preparedness is food and water. A good rule of thumb as far as water goes, drinking water, is a gallon a day per person. And now that can vary depending on your season, if it's really hot outside or if it's cold. But as a general rule of thumb, you're going to want a gallon per person per day. So if there's 3 in your family and you want to store enough for, say, a week, you're going to need 21 gallons. So whether you get the big 5-gallon bottles and store them somewhere, or on Craigslist, I found food grade barrels that held 25 gallons at a time. I now have about 150 gallons of stored water. So do what you need to do, but get that water stored. And then as far as food goes, you're going to want stuff that's easy to prepare, that's shelf stable, because if you run out of power, or there's a storm or something that knocks out your power and your freezer and fridge go down, that's not going to help you a whole lot. I mean, you're going to have to eat a whole bunch of stuff within that first day or two. And who knows, depending on how much you have, if you're going to be able to do that. You're going to need something for days, maybe. So have canned goods. Now, this is chili that I canned myself. If you're not a canner, that's okay. Just get the stuff from the store. They say the average American only has enough groceries in their house to last 2 days. Now, that's not acceptable. You need to store, I'd say, at bare minimum, a week's worth of food. But the more, the better. And if, you know, every time you go out shopping, pick up 1 extra can of this or that, and you'd be surprised at how quickly your food storage has grown. And remember to buy things that your family's going to eat anyways, because you're going to rotate this. Maybe you won't have storms or anything bad happen, and that's wonderful. But you don't want to be throwing out food that you spent your money on. So only buy stuff you're going to eat anyway, or that you've canned yourself because you know your family likes it. You know, this is chili, this is potatoes. We love Spam in my family, so this has a really good shelf life, and you know, you can fry it, you can eat it straight out of the can, although I don't like it that way, but you can. You know, here's sunflower seeds, nuts, and then don't forget little comfort foods like this. I'm not a huge fan of graham crackers, but kids are. And you're going to want some foods that make you feel still normal, you know, trying to carry on your everyday life as best you can. Me waking up without coffee would be a huge tragedy right there. So I made sure that I have always extra coffee on hand and a way to make it. So that's something you're going to want to think about when getting prepared for what may come your way. On the same topic of food is utensils and stuff. Here are paper plates. These are like 50 cups I got for, I guess, $2.50 from a restaurant store. And then here's a lot of plastic utensils. If the power's out or you're having a hard time having hot water to clean your dishes and utensils and stuff like that, having this on hand really helps, because one, you could throw it out. You know, you don't have to worry about bad food sitting around because you can't wash the dishes. You could toss this out right away. But this also comes in handy in case someone in the family is sick with something contagious. You know, you don't want to be sharing any kind of dishes with someone that may be ill with a contagious disease or something. So you can give this to that person, whoever the sick person is, and throw them away right away in their own bag and not worry about somebody else getting sick off of using perhaps the same cup or spoon or something. These items tend to go on sale during the summer when it's picnic season and whatnot, but you never know if they have an off-season sale, so always keep an eye out for this. This is a bag I put together myself, but The little boxes will often go on sale really cheap, so keep an eye out for this kind of stuff and pick it up here and there when you can. Okay, one other thing you need to think about when preparing for disasters and whatnot is lighting in case the power goes out. So right here, if you can see this, is a small oil lamp. Now I have several of these, but this one I was really happy I picked up. A Kmart was going out of business and they were selling everything 50% off. And this thing was normally $6 and I got it for $3. And it's all metal, so it's a lot more durable than some of the plastic ones out there. So you can use lamp oil in this, but if you were in a pinch, you could also use a cooking oil like vegetable oil. But then you have also your standard flashlights. This one's nice because it is that, or it is this, you know, in case you got to go outside or whatever. Always have a flashlight, whether there's a disaster or not. This one takes batteries. This one I really like because it's more of a spotlight, and you can charge it. It's rechargeable. It does not take batteries. Or you can crank it, and a lot of times that's what I do. This thing powers up really quickly just by cranking it, and having a crank flashlight is awesome. So then you don't have to worry about batteries at all, or your charger. And this little lantern here is cute. It's small, so if you don't need a lot of light, it too runs on batteries. You know, a little push of the button and you have something that'd be great, say, as an overnight light in the bathroom. And speaking of batteries, here I have some D's. I have actually quite an array of batteries. I have D's, I have C's, A's, AAA's, and all of them I have as rechargeables. And they're expensive to buy when you first start doing that, but as you're using them and recharging them, that's when you'll see your savings. But if you can't afford rechargeables right now, then don't buy them. You know, just buy your standard batteries and keep them on hand in case you need them one day for any one of these items. Also, besides the flashlights, this right here is a radio, obviously, but it's more than just, it does the weather stations. It also has a little flashlight on here. It has a thing for earphones and whatnot. And here's your antenna. And it too is crank. You can crank it for the power if you don't have the extra batteries. The cranking to me is really important. By having this, you know, you can stay informed on what's going on locally in your community or throughout the country if there's like some huge disaster going on. So with it cranking, that's awesome. But if you have the batteries, go ahead and use the batteries. Here's another one I have that I really like. It's smaller, it works great, but it has a solar panel here on top. So if you can get one that also has solar, that would be excellent. It also has a flashlight, but this one has a USB port, so that's awesome. You could try charging your phone or something small like that if need be. And there's also, I think that's a headphone jack, I'm not sure. I don't think you can charge this with a charger. It does take batteries. They're small little batteries, but it too also has a crank. And you can get the weather channels on here, so you can always stay updated as to the weather in case that is what your crisis or disaster is some, you know, terrible weather event going on. And as far as batteries and stuff go, well, actually along the lines of that, oh, and I don't want to forget, candles. Don't forget candles. I make a lot of my own candles, but you can get tapers, votives, little jar candles on sale or clearance in a lot of stores. Just keep an eye out for them if you know you don't make your own, because those are a great way of lighting and it's cheap. So go ahead and pick those up or make them yourself if you can. Just, you know, do what you have to do. But as far as the batteries go, I wanted to show you guys this. This is something, well, I've had these for a while now, and I test them and they work and I use them a lot. These are solar battery chargers. Now this one I like. It only does 2 AA batteries at a time, but it also will do 9-volt batteries. And you can use it for things like your phone. It has all these different adapters on here. And, you know, small items, you know, like a kid's handheld game, or a small radio, or small flashlight. Maybe something along the lines of this one, or smaller. But it works great. I've tried them time and time again, and it's awesome. And then this one here, this will charge a variety of batteries as well. You can do D's and C's and A's and triple A's, and I'm not sure what these other batteries are down here on the bottom, but you can do a big variety of batteries with this one. And I like on the cover, it shows you, there's this little thing on here that shows you how quickly your batteries are going to charge based on where they're at when you put them in there and your sun strength. Sometimes it'll take a while to get those things going, but they will charge. So if you can find these, I bought these off of Amazon, geez, probably around the same time I bought my generator, so I want to say probably like 6 years ago. Go ahead and pick them up if you can find them. The next thing I wanted to bring up to you is the matches and lighters. You're going to need to have a way to start fires or light your candles or whatever. It depends on what's going on by you and what your personal circumstance is. But for instance, if your power goes out, you're not going to be able to use your electric stove. So there are a variety of ways you can cook. You can cook on an outdoor grill. You can cook on a small camping stove with propane. Or you can cook on a campfire depending on where your location is. But you're going to need something to start that going. Maybe not with a camping stove. But on those lines, keep some of this canned heat too. Even if you don't own a camping stove, if need be, you can take these little cans, take these lids off, and get the little flame going, and put a pot on top of there, a small pot on there, to, you know, boil some water or heat up some soup or something along the lines of that. So think ahead of time if you need to boil water or you need to heat something up to eat or drink. How are you going to do that if your power is out? Do you have an alternate plan? So that's a few things to think about as well. Here's a bug repellent, and then we have ant traps, mouse trap. If you're stuck in a situation where, you know, it's more than just a day or two and it's hot outside, you want to make sure to keep any kind of vermin away from you and your food and your stuff. So, and also you want to keep yourself as healthy and your family as you can. And if there's skeeters in that out or ticks, make sure you have bug spray, because you really don't need to add to the problems you're already facing. Now if it's winter, here are some things you may want to have extras of, and it's just common sense stuff, and you may have them already at home. Have extra blankets, because if you have to sleep without heat, as horrible as that is, have extra blankets, some long underwear, hats and gloves, you know, just the standard kind of stuff you would need to face cold weather. Okay, being healthy and clean during a crisis can be a problem in and of itself. So ahead of time, when you're at the store, pick up a thing here or there if you don't already have a bunch of these things. Here's some medicines. This is for your allergies, for colds. Pain relievers are important because it's bad enough you're going through what you're going through. You don't want to do it while being in pain. You know, here's hand sanitizer. Stomach relief is what it's called, but something like Pepto to stop any kind of diarrhea or stomach problems. And then you're going to want stuff like first aid. You know, if you're bumbling around in the dark and doing stuff outside you're not normally used to doing, you know, you can end up with some cuts and blisters and burns and who knows what. So keep a variety of Band-Aids, you know, triple antibiotic ointment, stuff like that, you know, you may need. Also with your prescription pills, see if your doctor will give you an extra week's worth or something like that to have as a backup. I don't know how you would go about doing that. You know, tell them maybe you're going out of town, you need some extras. whatever it is, just see if your doctor will do that for you. Back over here, as far as the first aid, I have witch hazel and I have alcohol. I don't depend a lot on hydrogen peroxide. I prefer the witch hazel when you're talking about an antiseptic thing. It works great and it doesn't over dry, and you can use witch hazel for a lot of different things. Also, you can buy this. Don't buy the fancy stuff. Just buy this right where you get your alcohol and peroxide. It's sitting right there on the shelf, and it doesn't cost a lot of money at all. Now, keeping yourself clean during a time where you may not have a lot of water or where you don't have power, so you have to use an alternate fuel to heat your water, that can be a challenge. Have extra bars of soap because you want to keep yourself clean. But if your water is limited or you'd have to use a lot of fuel to warm it up, have baby wipes on hand. You can do a little mini bath with baby wipes and keep yourself and your kids and your grandkids, whatever, clean with baby wipes. Also, I prefer these over any kind of wipe that has that antibacterial stuff in it, because you can use these baby wipes also to clean up spills or other messes in your kitchen or bathroom, and you don't need that antibacterial stuff anyhow. But the antibacterial would not work as a personal cleaning wipe. A lot of people would react badly with that. It would burn their skin or give them a rash or whatever. But with baby wipes, you can use them for both. You can use them for your personal self, your own body, or you can use them to clean up in the kitchen or bathroom. But these two right here, have these on hand too. Have vinegar and bleach. Both of these will work awesome as cleaners and disinfectants. And also with the bleach, if you need to purify water, drinking water, you can do it with bleach. But you need straight bleach. Do not buy any kind of bleach that has scents added to it, that smells like lilacs or whatever. And there's also a bleach out there that they say pours easier, so it is less likely to drip where you don't want it to drip. Well, don't buy that either, because those are all additives and you don't want those, and you can't use those if you're going to use bleach to purify your drinking water. And also garbage bags. Make sure to have some extra garbage bags on hand, and rags or paper towels. You are going to need that stuff. It will also come in handy if someone in the family is sick and you want to hurry up and clean stuff up and get it out of the house and away from everyone else. And one of the last things I wanted to bring up is just having a nice book on preparing for any type of disaster. There's a lot of them out there, a lot of good writers. Do your research, look them up, get a book if you can. Also, go to the CDC website. Excellent information there on how to prepare for almost any kind of disaster you can think of, even man-made, even terrible things that would happen in war if like a dirty bomb was dropped. Go to the CDC.com, no, not .com, CDC.gov. I'll put the links down in a description, and also ready.gov. There's information on there too. Both of those will tell you how you can prepare for different types of natural disasters or man-made disasters, but you can also find great information on there too, as well as stuff like the Zika virus or any communicable diseases and stuff like that. Well, anyhow, this was not a full and complete, this is what you should have in case of an emergency kind of thing. I wanted to bring this up to give you guys ideas. Start thinking about your life, your family, your corner of the world, and what it is you face and what you may need. So I really just wanted to get you thinking about it and knowing the importance of it. There's a lot of people that have been through some terrible, terrible times in their lives that they had no idea this was coming, that this was going to affect them. None of us knows, what could happen in the economy or world events, and the little bit we can be prepared for it, not only will it ease us and our families, it helps us also to feel like we have some control in what's going on. And when you can have that little sense of control, like all is not lost, it really does help you out a lot. So anyways, Leave me some comments down there. I'd like to hear about your ideas on preparing and what you've done, and maybe even where you live and what kind of disasters you face. But anyhow, thanks for taking the time for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you like the video. Check out the other videos that I have. That would be awesome. That would be great. It was really nice talking to you, and you take care.